Hello and welcome everybody to this episode of Leadership Power Paradigms. This is Bill Thomas, your host and presenter for today's episode. And in just a very few moments, we're going to begin our broadcast. So, as you know, we tend to wait just a few more seconds so that everybody can join us. And we're at that point in time, so let us get going. Hello and welcome to this episode of Leadership Power Paradigms. This is Bill Thomas, your host and presenter for today's episode. And as we continue our explorations of these many leadership power paradigms, we'll use the next 14 or so minutes to apply a truly significant philosophy borrowed from and inspired by a fictitious character who was featured in one of the greatest novels of the 19th century and written by a man who was passionately affected by the events of July 14, 1789 and July 14, 1790, when the people of France changed course and embarked upon the path towards democratic governance and a republic based upon the civil rights of its citizens. There is an act of the human will which usually gets confused with an act inspired by human emotion called love. When leading people, you would do well to employ the willful act of love and leave your emotionally charged love at home. In a moment, we will examine some parameters of the willed love act. However, first, we need to provide some information about the human being. All humans have a soul, which consists of three separate and distinct parts. Number one, we have the human mind. Number two, we have a human will, which is a free or unimpeded power to make whatever choices we wish to make. No one else can influence or control our will unless we allow that person or thing to influence our will. And every human being has emotions. So even though there are certain duties, tasks, or activities we may not feel like performing, we still do those things because we have to. We are supposed to do, or we are obligated to do them. In those cases, we have performed the act because we applied our willpower and decided to do those acts. The Apostle Paul explains this concept of applying your willpower to acts of the kind of love which is prescribed and approved by God. As Paul writes in his first letter to the Corinthians in chapter 13, verses 4 through 8, charity, the affection, goodwill, love, and benevolence shown by effective leaders suffers long. It perseveres patiently and bravely in enduring misfortunes and troubles. It is patient in bearing the offenses and injuries of others, and it is mild and slow in avenging, and it is long suffering, slow to anger, slow to punish. This form of love is kind. Charity, which is an act of human will, envies not. It does not burn with zeal, nor is it healed, nor does it boil with envy, hatred, or anger. Charity vaunts not itself. It doesn't boast about one's own self, nor does it use self-display, nor does it employ rhetorical embellishments in extolling oneself excessively. This type of willful, benevolent love is not puffed up. It does not make proud, act puffed up, or bear one's self loftily, nor is it proud. Charity does not behave itself unseemly. It seeks not her own. It is not easily provoked. It thinks no evil. Charity rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Charity bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Charity, which is that form of affection, goodwill, love, and benevolence shown by effective leaders, never fails. This love does not fall out of, fall down from, fall off from its purpose, intentions, priorities, or its goals. In Victor Hugo's epic story of Les Miserables, we learn that one night Jean Valjean, an escaped convict who becomes the hero of the novel, shows up at the bishop's door. Valjean asks to stay the night. The bishop graciously accepts him, feeds him, and gives him a bed. Valjean takes most of the bishop's silver and runs off in the night. The police capture Valjean and take him back to face Bishop Bienvenu. When the police inform the bishop they have found the silver in Valjean's knapsack, Bienvenu tells the police that he has given them to Valjean as a gift. He scolds Valjean for not taking the silver candlesticks as well. After the police leave, Bienvenu tells Valjean to use the silver to become an honest man. Victor Hugo used this character to show the priests and leaders of his day that a loving philosophy can empower people to become more responsible citizens and better human beings. The Christian Bible tells us that when you take the action of conforming, fashioning, or rescheming yourself, your mind, and character so as to change or renovate or renew yourself to another pattern of thinking or viewing things in the world, in a word, you can fashion one's self according to a worthy or better role model or some other design that is used by someone who was more successful. Listen to what Paul's letter to the Romans says in chapter 12, verse 2. Paul says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." Amen. Professor and psychologist Carol Dweck has a much better name for our mental attitudes. She calls them our mindsets. Regardless of what they are called, these attitudes and mindsets are the measure or limits or extent of our ability to receive or contain new ways of accepting, considering, or forming any new or different ideas, perspectives, or orientations. Our willpower can enable us to effectively define, order, and prioritize our leadership and personal behaviors. In short, we can control, influence, or manage how we conduct ourselves and our actions or reactions to most circumstances. Your behavior is your choice based upon the amount of fear or faith you have in your ability to deal with that particular situation. Here is the first of 3 essential behaviors which can help increase the level of your passionate performances. As many successful leaders like Jack Welch, Nelson Mandela, and Mother Teresa have told their followers and others, if you are not learning new things, then you are not leading. I urge you to begin working on developing and strengthening your own desire for new knowledge. Use this behavior to maximize and enhance the value you get from every little bit of your realities and the truths that are revealed to you each and every day. You will discover that the added value you derive from your examinations, investigations, and interventions will empower and magnify your leadership insights, more deeply engage the abilities and competencies of your employees, and encourage or enrich the creative potential of your organization. Numerous studies and expert research have shown that our human minds are comfortable thinking about or focusing on not more than 5 or so priorities or major goals at any one time. Using your leadership agenda, you should be able to select just a few items that require your time, attention, and energies or efforts. If these selected agenda items are truly strategic in scale and scope, you will need to devote seriously meaningful amounts of your organizational resources to working on and completing those tasks. You can use these types of questions for assessing yourself and evaluating your progress on all 7 of these essential leadership behaviors. For example, how much and how often are you developing a burning desire for new knowledge? Why should you persist in following through on your own or others' commitments with courage, reliability, or empathy? If you want to learn more about all 7 of those leadership behaviors listed here, please use the question box to send me your request along with your Skype ID or phone number. Thank you. Your 7 essential behaviors will always serve you well, especially when it comes to dealing with your leadership commitments, deciphering and unraveling the complexities of leading, strengthening your credibility as a leader, and simplifying the employment of your leadership power. Wise leaders always go out to where the land is most fertile, where its soil is likely to yield the best, most delicious fruit. Those leaders look for places where they can diversify and increase their chances for harvesting more than one type of food. They realize that planting 7 different seeds are more likely to produce at least 4 or 5 lovely harvests. These 7 fields of focus are noble purposes, creation, service, righteousness, faith, leadership of or leadership on, and types. In today's episode, we looked at how a few developmental, strengthening, and empowerment actions could add more fuel, energy, and power to your positive mental and emotional attitudes and your essential leadership behaviors. Hopefully, you saw that your willpower is completely under your control, that your ability and desire to act in charitable, loving ways exclusively depends on your will and not on your emotional state or your feelings. And finally, we observe that a philosophy of loving can help leaders passionately engage, encourage, and energize other people to excel and elevate the value, quality, and creativity of their efforts. This ends today's lesson. You are looking at the catalog of materials, training, and coaching support services, which are featured in my Leadership Power Paradigms Producer Tools program. You can see that this program is designed to dramatically improve your leadership performances and use your leadership strengths to comprehensively empower the achievements of your people. Right now, this program is available to you at my lowest possible price, so I urge you to visit the webpage at www.one-im.com/LPP tools or click on the Enroll and Get Started Now button that you see on the right-hand side of your screen. And if you like what you read on that page, go ahead and get going now. Don't forget, there is my famous no questions asked, no risk to you 30-day money-back guarantee for this program, so you really have nothing to lose by enrolling now in this awesome educational program. And as you're looking through that, I'm going to run back to my control panel so that I can provide you with the links to our 2 bonus gifts for attending today's webinar session. And if you give me a quick second here, I'll do just that. Okay, there they are. The first bonus gift is our 5 Leadership Uplifter Tasks document. That is an infographic. It's a PDF document, And what you have there is you have 5 tasks that you should be looking to do and perform in every single one of your leadership actions. So I encourage you to download that one. And as I said, it's a PDF document, so download it and print it out. And it's just one sheet of paper for you, and put it on your desk. And that way you can refer to it every day. And your second bonus gift is the Words with Wisdom paper. It's 8 pages. It is a PDF document too, and it contains tips and strategies and ideas and principles that we covered in today's episode of Leadership Power Paradigms, as well as some of our previous episodes of the Leadership Power Paradigm series. So that'll be a good one too, and it's only 8 pages long, so I think you'll find that a very helpful tool and resource for yourself as well. And for those of you who are watching us on the replay recording of this episode of Leadership Power Paradigms, I remind you to look on the right-hand side of your screen, and you will see the question box, which you can use to send me your questions or comments about anything to do with leadership whatsoever, whether it's something that we covered in today's episode of Leadership Power Paradigms or any leadership related question. When you type in your question or comment, I also encourage you to include your phone number if you're located in Canada or in the US. And that way I can call you too, and we can further discuss your questions or comments. And also, if you're located outside of Canada or the US, why then I encourage you to include your Skype ID in that question, along with your question message to me. Again, Skype is something that I use a lot. I usually use it with most of my clients as well, because that way I can actually type in some things that you can copy and paste and put into a document for yourself. Or I'll usually upload an article or a paper or something that's a written material that you can use and take that and put that into your files and read through it when you have an opportunity. And that way you actually get some free stuff from me, since the call is free, and and anything that I give you during our conversation, of course, is free as well. So that's a great way to get another freebie from me. And when you click on the email button, that'll submit your question or comment, it'll email it to me, and I will already have your email address and your name, because that's what you had to use to register for this. And my system just tells me, oh, well, it's so-and-so with this particular email address. So you don't have to put in anything about any of that. Let's see. Well, that's all of that. And I just wanted to do one more thing just to make sure that that people had this available to them. I'm just putting up those 2 links to our 2 bonus gifts as well. So I strongly encourage you to take advantage of those 2 free gifts, as well as the Leadership Power Paradigms producer tools, tutorials, and coaching support program for performance improvements. When you click on the Enroll and Get Started Now button for that program, what will actually happen is you'll be taken to a page which gives you a lot more information about this program, so you can read through that and think about it. I mean, why not? You got nothing to lose by that. And when you do click on the Enroll and Get Started button, it will actually open up a new web browser browser tab or web browser window, so you won't lose this page either. Okay, so I don't see anything from our live audience today, so I'm going to let it go and say, okay. Now, I don't know what's going on over here because it seems like something weird is happening. I sure hope, let's see, I'm going to stop this slide share for a second. Okay, well, anyway, we got a different button here. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm going to say this is the end of this episode of Leadership Power Paradigms. I'm Bill Thomas. I've been your host and presenter for today's episode. I say God bless each and every one of you and Godspeed to you all. And I wish each and every one of you the very best of success in all of your leadership endeavors. This is Bill Thomas saying take care, and I'll see you in a future episode. What's going on here? Oh, no. Please don't tell me that we've been, let's see, I want to see something here. Well, hopefully you heard me do this broadcast. If not, then you'll have to, what I suggest you do is, in case this broadcast didn't happen, because it says that I actually did it for 21 minutes. I'm not quite sure why we didn't start, but I get the impression that maybe there was something that I should have done. So let me say this to you. If you hear this, and this is all you're hearing, then you're on the webinar replay. Therefore, please, on the right-hand side of your screen is the question box, and just say, listen, I missed this episode. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything or see any of the slides or anything. And if you just type that into your question box and email that to me, what I will do is I will send you the link for the Thursday replay of the same episode, because I do 2 of the same episodes every week, one on Thursday and one on Friday, my time anyway. So just write me a short note to say, hey, listen, I didn't hear anything. I came to hear the Friday episode. That would be the July 15th episode. And I didn't hear anything, so therefore, would you please, Mr. Bill, send me the link to the other episode that was done and recorded, by the way. So no worries there. You didn't really miss anything because the Thursday episode worked very well anyway. So thanks for coming, and thanks for emailing me with that question box. Please use the question box, only the question box, okay? And that way I'll know that, okay, you did come for the Friday episode, and that I somehow messed up in this when I was doing this. So I'm going to say, God bless you, Godspeed to you, and the very best of success in all your leadership endeavors. This is Bill Thomas saying, take care.